Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSPs. Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSPs. The Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, as a unique feature of the Indian Constitution, aims to guide the nation toward the establishment of a just and equitable society. Embodying the ideals of social and economic democracy, they serve as a compass for the governance of the country. This article of NEXT IAS aims to study the Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, its meaning, constitutional provisions, classification, features, significance, criticism, and other related aspects. Features of the Directive Principles of State Policy. Constitutional instructions. They denote the constitutional instructions to the state in dealing with legislative, executive, and administrative matters. Thus, they serve as ideals to be kept in mind by the state while formulating policies and enacting laws. Non-justiciable. Unlike the fundamental rights, which are legally enforceable, the DPSPs are non-justiciable. Thus, they are not legally enforceable by the courts for their violation, and the governments cannot be compelled to implement them. Aimed at welfare state. They aim at realizing the ideals of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as envisaged in the preamble to the Indian Constitution. Thus, they embody the concept of a welfare state. Aimed at socio-economic democracy. They constitute very comprehensive economic, social, and political programs that seek to establish socio-economic democracy in the country. Thus, they aim to establish a modern democratic state. Promote good governance. They allow for adaptation and innovation in governance to meet the objectives of socio-economic development. Thus, they promote good governance practices. Resemblance to Instrument of Instructions. As noted by Dr. Ambedkar, they resemble the Instrument of Instructions enumerated in the Government of India Act of 1935. Aids judiciary. Though non-justiciable, they help the courts in examining and determining the constitutional validity of a law. As ruled by the Supreme Court, in determining the constitutionality of any law, if a court finds that the law in question seeks to give effect to a directive principle, it may consider such law to be reasonable in relation to Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of laws, or Article 19, protection of 6 freedoms. Challenges in implementation of DPSPs. Lack of accountability. Due to their non-binding nature, critics argue that there is a lack of accountability in ensuring compliance with DPSPs, allowing governments to neglect their obligations. Political expediency. There is criticism that governments often prioritize short-term political gains over the long-term objectives outlined in DPSPs, undermining their significance. Inadequate financial resources. Lack of sufficient financial resources is one of the prominent reasons holding the government from the fuller implementation of the DPSP. Population explosion. Ever-increasing population of the country is breeding various new socio-economic issues, which need priority attention. Thus, the implementation of DPSP keeps on taking a backseat. Strained center-state relations. Inadequate spirit of cooperative federalism results in a lack of coordination and cooperation between the center and the states for the implementation of DPSP. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, aim to realize the ideals of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as outlined in the preamble of the Constitution. Thus, they embody the concept of a welfare state. It is because of this significance that Dr. Ambedkar has called the DPSP the novel features of the Indian Constitution. Thank you.